something to do with Diana being arrested?
You all do. You're trying to hit us with a fucking RICO, y'all.
Diana Tejada. I'm representing her on the drug arrest.
This blows your cover. You ready for that?
I am.
Dre, I got a job for you.
Y'all out here trying to set up Effie?
I'm trying to handle the RICO that's about to bite us in the ass.
What the fuck?
So when you hear the title Episode 8, Sacrifice, it does make you wonder, who's going to be the sacrifice? Will it be Effie, Cooper Saxe, Theo, or someone else? Or potentially even all of them? We all know in the Power universe, Episode 8 is usually the big one, and in recent times for Power Book 2 Ghost. In Season 2, we saw the epic dinner scene where Diana blew up Monet's secret. This also led to Monet stringing up Carrie to make her death look like a suicide. Now based on the trailer for Season 3, Episode 8, it seems like a few characters could be in big trouble. Tariq also lets everyone know there's a RICO being built, and it seems like Monet and Tariq St. Patrick are setting Effie up to take the fall instead of Diana, a decision that doesn't seem to go down well with Kane. Cooper Saxe, who's been around since the very beginning of Power, is also in trouble, and that's because his cover is about to be blown. He's ready to come out that he's been working as an inside man. But in this video, I'm going to run through a few different theories. You guys know how I like to connect the dots to teasers and scenes that aren't necessarily in the episode trailers, but from previous teasers that was released before Ghost Season 3. So I'm going to run through the potential death of Theo Rollins and how this will impact Davis, and the question I have is, could Theo commit suicide? I'm also going to run through a few Easter eggs and clues around Tariq recording Effie, and Effie coming face to face with Lauren, so there is a lot to unpack, so let's start with the episode title and synopsis. Now the title of episode 8 is Sacrifice, and the synopsis reads, the feds apply pressure to get their suspect to flip, who we all know is Diana. Drew's suddenly erratic behavior leads the Castillos to grow suspicious. As Tate prepares to go up against a political opponent, Harper questions his ethics. Now when we talk about sacrifice, this is what happens in the game. We all know what Effie did to Tariq in Power, and sometimes you do have to sacrifice someone to save yourself or a loved one, but I think the title is definitely self-explanatory this week. So with the theme of this video being sacrifice as a whole, let's get straight into Tariq telling the Tejadas there's a RICO being built. We hear Monet saying they've all got something to do with Diana being arrested, and Tariq says they all do, and they're trying to hit them with a RICO.
I've been with the feds, and they're building a case against you.
You're the witness.
At the end of episode 5, we saw Tariq coming face to face with a ghost, and that's when he knew he was in trouble. Lauren told him that they were building a case, and it's not just Tariq St. Patrick who's in trouble. Monet is right next to him on the investigation board, so was Diana, who got roped up in episode 7, Brayden, Effie, Kane, and even Rashad Tate after the events of episode 7. Now shit is about to get real for Tariq St. Patrick and the Tejadas, because not only is Diana about to be questioned, but this also might put the street operation on pause. Law enforcement are going to rain in on their warehouse, which is a Western Holdings building, and we all know how Robert Weston said he'll disown Brayden if he fucks up again, so just something to bear in mind. Now we see Junior, or also known as Agent Young, in Season 3 looking at some product, so this RICO isn't just the only problem for Tariq and the Tejadas. In episode 1, Tariq promised Nomar that not only could they replace Mecca, but they have people in law enforcement, people in the government, and people in the courts. So even if they're being hit with this RICO, Nomar will definitely expect them to keep the cash flowing. But that is going to be a huge problem in episode 8, which is why Tariq might ask Effie to get back in the game. Or does he have something else in mind? Now I'm going to come to Effie's move and her being set up in just a moment. In episode 8, we're also going to see law enforcement coming down hard on Diana, and that's thanks to Lauren, who told Jenny about Stansfield rooftop. But look, this is where we have to be fair to Lauren. Not only is she having Tariq's back at this moment in time, previously she was being manipulated by Jenny so she could build her case. She put a picture in front of her of Effie and Tariq, knowing it would spark a reaction, and this led her to getting this image of Diana. Now do I expect Diana to talk? That's a good question, and at this moment in time I don't think she will. Say for example she knew Monet had something to do with Lorenzo's death, then I think it's a different ball game, but at this moment in time I definitely don't expect her to talk. We're gonna see her in a room with Davis and Cooper Saxe, and we all know what Davis will say: trust no one and say nothing, and I do think she'll be okay with someone like Davis by her side. However, it does seem like Cooper Saxe is gonna make the first move. We hear him telling Blanca Rodriguez he's here to represent Diana Tejada, but we all know the real people he's representing, Jenny and Blanca. Now, not only does it seem like Davis is going to see and overhear a conversation between Saxe and Jenny Sullivan, Cooper Saxe is actually ready for his cover to be blown, and so we're entering that territory before Saxe, where a snitch is a snitch, and really need to be taken off the chessboard. Tariq also knows that he's working for the other side, and so I expect that information to go back to Davis. Now, these are a few scenes from the Davis McLean teaser, where we see him pulling out the strap, and Davis talking to someone who's been arrested, saying it's unethical but legal as fuck, who I can only assume he's talking to Diana. So let's stick with Davis and look at a few more scenes, and then we're going to come around to Effie potentially being set up by Tariq and Monet. In the official trailer for episode 8, we see Davis and Tariq running, with Davis shouting "put the gun down," who I believe could be Theo. One scene we're yet to see is Theo holding a gun to Saxe, and with him being ready to blow his cover, I really wouldn't be surprised to see Theo making good on his promise, doing anything to save Davis from going to prison, but I do feel like there's going to be a twist. In the official Davis teaser, we see him holding onto some bars and breaking down in tears, and I highly doubt he'd be shedding tears for Saxe, but I can definitely see him being inconsolable over Theo's death. Theo is someone who's not just fighting an illness, but someone who looks unhappy at life after prison. It genuinely seemed like he was more happy to stay in prison than coming out, and he was even shocked that the parole board authorized his release, but it was Davis and his cash that helped him, of course. Now, with Davis shouting "put your gun down," is he telling Theo to let Saxe go, or could we even see Theo committing suicide? At some point, everybody in Fat Power does face some kind of loss or defeat, and Davis's defeat doesn't necessarily have to do with the law. I genuinely believe it's the end of the line for his brother Theo, a potential suicide, or he pulls the trigger on Cooper Saxe. Now, here's arguably the biggest story from episode 8's trailer, is Effie being set by Tariq St. Patrick and Monet Tejada. In the trailer for episode 8, we hear Tariq telling Effie, "You wanted back in the business, so I've got a drop for you," and so we see her making that drop. But during this drop, in come law enforcement, so she drops the drugs and makes a run for it. But will she outrun law enforcement, or is she about to get caught? In my opinion, she's getting caught. Now, this doesn't seem like it's going to go down well with Kane, because he's had Effie's back ever since Lorenzo's had his. He also doesn't feel Effie should be punished for handling business.
Shouldn't be punished for handling business. Besides, you looked out for me with that wire shit, so I won't look out for you.
Now, it will be intriguing to see what Kane thinks when he realizes Lauren is actually alive, but even though it was poor execution, the decision to try and kill Lauren was the right one. But we all know Monet, and she never shows her hand, so she tells Kane she's handling the Rico that's about to bite them in the ass. So it does seem like Tariq and Monet may have set up Effie to potentially take the fall instead of Diana. Now, this is going to be a problem in more ways than one. Effie was the brains behind Cause Perfect, and she was also the one who set up the app for No Cap All Frap, but she's also the person who has what Tariq needs, the picture of Nomar and a daughter. But if Effie gets pulled in by law enforcement, there is no way she gives that picture to Tariq, unless he gets a hold of that picture before he sets up Effie. Now, here's where it gets interesting. When and if Effie gets pulled in by law enforcement, and if she's looking at some major time, could she take a deal? I go back to what Alex, who plays Effie, said on Twitter. "You guys promised me whatever happens in the second half of the season, you're gonna stick besides me. So will Effie talk if she's given a deal? All it comes down to is survival mode."
I told you in confidence that I was getting loaned out of the fucking city to protect her. You went behind my back.
And I was trying to protect
You
you.
were protecting yourself as always.
Now, just an Easter egg and a clue for you guys. In season 1, we heard Effie asking Tariq, "Is he wearing a wire?" And she said something similar in season 2, episode 6, when she asked him, "Is his room bugged?" Ironically, he did go and record her in 307, but will Effie look out for number 1 and potentially talk to law enforcement and take a deal if they offer her one? I would like to think Effie wouldn't snitch, but this is power and we can never say never. It's also another reason why I said Tariq admitting to her that he killed Ray Ray and Ghost was a bad idea, although Davis would definitely chew her up on the stand, because that's just what he said, she said, and law enforcement haven't even been able to nail Tariq St. Patrick for either anyway. But regardless, Effie being brought in could cause chaos in more ways than one, and we're also yet to see Effie coming face to face with Lauren, which is going to be the biggest shock of her life, so I do expect her to be pulled in. So these are a few further scenes just to reinforce Effie being brought in by Jenny Sullivan and Blanca Rodriguez. But that's a breakdown of the trailer for episode 8, an episode where I expect to see a big death that will change the game, and maybe even Effie being arrested and coming face to face with Lauren, something that will sure send a shiver down her spine. But drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.